And we're going. Good. Okay. How you doing tonight, Tamara?
I'm doing pretty good, thank you. How are you?
I'm a little bit cold, but good.
Well, you should be down south. It's warm. It was like in the 70s today
Oh, really? Where are you located?
in Georgia.
Oh, you're in Georgia. Very nice. Yeah, I'm in New Jersey, and where we are, it's chilly. And where I work is in the basement of my house, so it's underground, and it has a tendency of being a little bit cooler down here anyway. It's like a finished basement, but it's cold. So 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 how's everything going so far?
Everything's going good so far. I've had a busy couple of days, so really just getting to really sift through everything because I've had quite a few things going on since we've had class on Monday.
Uh-huh. Well, is everything all
So,
right?
oh, everything is fine. It's just busy.
Oh, okay. Um, are you having any problems with anything?
No, no problems at all.
Okay.
No problems at all. It's just uh getting a settle down point and just being able to just sit down and not have very many interruptions.
Hmm. Are you clear on what you have to do?
Yes, I'm clear on what I have to do.
Okay.
That's not a problem at all. It's just
Okay.
like I said, it's just the settling down and being able to concentrate on doing it.
Okay. All right. You know that tonight's Wednesday, and it probably isn't going to be of much value to you tonight necessarily because it's a little early. But I am in Blackboard on Wednesday nights from 7 o'clock to 11 o'clock Mountain Time. And you said you've been to Blackboard, haven't you?
Yes, quite a few times.
Okay, so you know how to get there. You know what to do. Did you go in and check the link to get in here? Did I fix it properly?
No, I got the oops kind of prompt. So I just put in your personal ID.
Right. So I don't know why that happened to me too. When I went in there, and I want to say this to the class for future reference. I put the link in there that I'm supposed to put in, and I get this oops page. So really, right up the top, I believe there's a link that says join a meeting or something similar to that. Is that about what it says, Tamara?
Yeah, that's correct.
Join a meeting or join or something like that. So anyway, all you need to do really at that point, if you get that oops panel, is just click on join a meeting, and what you'll see is a panel that will allow you to put the PMI in. And that PMI will then bring you right in here. So it should be a little bit better. I don't exactly know what the story is on that one panel, but when I tried to put the address in, it ended up defaulting back to that oops thing. So I don't know. So I got somebody new tonight. Daryl, how you doing? Daryl? Were you here last night? The other night? You have your mic, Daryl?
Um, um,
There you go. We hear you.
can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Oh, then yes, I do have my mic on.
Yeah, very good. How you doing, Daryl?
I'm doing all right. How you doing?
Very good. Do you know Tamara?
No, we're just meeting. Hi, Daryl.
How are you doing?
I'm fine. How are you?
Doing excellent. I know who you are, though. I've seen your posts.
Oh, okay, okay.
Have you had her in another class at all?
Yeah, yes, I have.
Okay, good. That's good. Do you know who I am?
You're my instructor.
Well, I mean, do you know anything about me? Have you had any interactions before with me?
No, I have not.
Have you ever gone to Blackboard?
No.
Oh, okay. You know what Blackboard is, right?
No.
You don't know what Blackboard is? Tamara, tell them.
Blackboard is essentially just a student success center where you can go in and you can get help. Like, say, if you're struggling through something, the learning coaches and some other instructors or tutors are there to help you, like, kind of get over the hump. It's like if you're stuck or something like that. And actually, our instructor is a pretty great, tutor. I've dealt with him quite a few times in Blackboard, so you're in good hands.
Nice. Yeah, I have been there. I've been there once.
Okay, all right. I hope everybody else knows this. And again, I'm not the only instructor there. And I believe I just told Tamara my hours are Wednesday. Tonight is actually after this class. I'll be going in and I'll be there till 11 o'clock tonight. So, and then on Saturday nights, my days are Saturdays and Wednesdays, and it's Saturdays from 7 to 12 and Wednesdays from 7 to 11. Those are my hours in Blackboard. So you're welcome to come in anytime you want, even if you just want to discuss something with me. If you want to take a look at something before you submit it, whatever, it doesn't really matter. If you have the time, come in and bring whatever it is with you, and we'll go over it. Don't know what else to say about it. If you know how to get in, you got no problem. Were you able to, did you have trouble getting in tonight, Daryl?
Yeah, I had to use the PMI code.
Yeah, because you got the OOPS panel?
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know what's going on with that, but at least you were able to figure it out, right? You knew that. You just click on the meeting tab, the other tab that says go to meeting, and then put the PMI in, and you're right in here.
Yeah, well, there's instructions to it.
Okay, yeah, okay. So I just want to make sure it was clear, because I got other people to worry about. And, there was somebody last night tried to come in and couldn't get in because there was a problem with the page, and I guess she couldn't quite figure it out. Tamara, I think, had to go all the way to help to get in here, which is terrible, So I hope I got that resolved. You guys take a look at the announcements. Do you have any questions or anything about any issues with the assignment for this week? You only got one assignment this week. I shouldn't really say that because you have a test to take, but me and Tamara were talking about that last night. This is a pretty much open-ended test. I mean, you can go in and you can take the test. You don't have a time limit. It's not a half hour. It's not an hour. Take as long as you want to take this test, which kind of gives you a good bit of leeway as far as coming up with the answers for the test. So, it should be simple enough for you to do that. And I believe everything that relates to that test is in one way or another associated with some of the information that they give you, in your study material, right?
Mm-hmm. Well,
Yeah, that should be the case.
Yeah, and I'm going to say this again. Did you, either one of you, I know, Tamara, you didn't really have to because you only missed the very front end of it. Did you, either one of you, take a look at the Monday night recorded session?
I'm doing that actually not after this class, because after this class I have another class, but after that class I'm going to watch the recorded session.
Okay, so Tamara, you don't actually have to do that too much because you were here, right? So you're
but I'm still going to rewatch it because it was so much good stuff. You should have been here last week.
Well, here's the thing. I'm going to mention this again. I mentioned it last week, but I'm going to mention it again. I don't know how many other instructors do this, but I encourage my students to come into the classroom when they come in a quiet space. Find yourself some quiet space where there's no radio, there's no television, there's no animals barking. Now, I got a dog, and he could start barking at any moment. I got the door shut, and I have my son bringing him upstairs with me, but that doesn't mean that, noise happens. And I understand that. But I kind of want this experience, my class experience, to be as much like an actual classroom as possible. And the only real way to do that is to make it so that people can have their mics on. And the only way that we can make that work is to have a little bit of respect for each other when we do it and make sure that we're in a quiet space. This way, as we're going along, if either one of you have a question about something or a comment you want to make, you can, as long as, I'm in a position where I can stop for a second, you can make your comment or ask me the question. And that gives me the ability to expand a little bit about what I'm doing or saying, and maybe help you learn a little bit better, a little bit more about what it is that we're dealing with. All right. So I want to let everybody know that in classes, I do try to let you guys have your mics on as long as you're in a quiet place, and you can keep them on and you can talk to me. Now, if you want to shut them off and then turn them on when you want to ask me a question or make a comment, that's fine too. You know what I mean? But I want everybody to know that that's the way I operate here. I like to interact with the students. I think it makes for a better overall lesson. And sometimes the questions that a student has are similar questions that other students might have. And if I'm asked those questions and I have the opportunity to explain this stuff, I think it helps the overall learning. Are we cool with that?
Yep.
Okay.
Yes.
Do you have any questions about your assignment or any part of the first week?
Not yet. This is the first time I've actually gotten a chance to sit down and deal with it.
Okay.
So,
You know what to do. You're going to actually create a mood board. Okay. I did go over, I did explain it. I did show you my mood board on Monday night. So if you watch that recording, you get a sense of what that's all about. But there is another part now that I think about it, I forgot to even talk about. And I'd like to talk about that tonight so that I can at least get it covered. If you look, I got an area of my prompt highlighted. And basically, it's part of the assignment. What it's telling you to do is it wants you to create just some very rough sketches, maybe 3 ideas that explore and capture the basic composition of your package design. So you're designing a package. You're going to actually design 2 things. You're going to actually design a box, package box, and you're going to do a label for one of your products. The products will either be Chateau Vineyards Wild Bill Gourmet Sauce or Cool Breeze Perfume or Cologne. It's totally up to you which one you pick. You'll pick one of those 3, and you will actually create some sort of a box design and a label for a bottle. What we're going to do after I get done talking here is I'm going to go into Illustrator and I'm going to jump way ahead. And I'm going to show you how to go about creating the box, and I'm going to show you how to go about creating the bottle and how to apply labeling to it. And I want to do that early on because, number one, it's an absolutely incredibly cool thing to learn how to do in Adobe Illustrator. And you're probably going to want to try to do it yourself because it makes a tremendous, makes a really good portfolio piece. So my thinking is that since we're going to end up there, it probably is a very smart idea to introduce that concept right at the very beginning so that you have the video that you could look at and you could actually spend some time playing with this and come up with a really good solution. What do you guys think? Does that make sense to you?
yeah, it sounds fun.
Yes. Definitely.
Yeah, I mean, I could just hold this whole thing back and wait until week 4. But if I do this now you've got 3 full weeks that you can find some time to go in and do this and play with this and have it ready. You're going to have to do it anyway. You know what I mean? That's part of the process. Now, there are probably easier ways you could do it. But believe me when I tell you that there are no nicer ways to do it. I mean, this is a phenomenal way to do this. And it is doable. It's something that you can do it. If someone shows you how to do it, you'll be able to do it. And I'm going to show you exactly how to do it. And I'm going to give you 4 weeks to fool around with it. And this way, you'll have plenty of time to prepare this thing and make a really nice piece for your portfolio. That's what I'm looking for, is something that's really nice out of you. Also, you guys have some background with Illustrator, right?
Oh yeah.
Yes.
So you got a little bit of an idea what's going on here?
We use it a lot, apparently.
Good. Have you ever done anything? Have you ever done anything with either the 3D extrude or 3D revolve?
No.
No, I haven't.
No? Well, you're in for some fun, and you're going to see me play with it tonight, and I think you'll really enjoy it. It's incredibly fun. The only problem is one thing that I'm going to caution you. My computer, I'm a graphic designer on top of an instructor, and I bought my own computer, and I have a very powerful video card on it. I have a gaming quality video card on it. I don't know whether your computers have that level of video card on them. I really don't know.
I don't even know what that is.
Well, there are three things that your computers use when you're doing graphics: a video card, your processor, and your RAM. Okay, the larger your processor, the more instructions it can comprehend and it can do for you. The more RAM you have, the more programs you can support up front. Like, for instance, right now I have Zoom going. I have my Illustrator going, which is actually Illustrator and Photoshop and InDesign and Dreamweaver are very much power pigs. They take a lot of power to run. So if you don't have the right computer set up, you can have 3 or 4 of those programs on and run into trouble. I also have a program called Camtasia going, which I could shut, but I'm just too lazy to do it because I'm going to use it later on. So I just left it over. And I also have Firefox going. So I got 4 things going here, and I don't have any problem. I shouldn't have any problem working with my 3D stuff, okay? But the more stuff you got open, the more power is being diverted to all these programs, and the less is going into working in Adobe Illustrator on your 3D. And I have to tell you that 3D in Illustrator is doing a lot of very advanced stuff, and it requires a great deal of computer energy and power to do that. That's why every once in a while you'll run into problems. I'll even run into problems if I get too complex with the thing. Okay, and I have a slightly more advanced program or computer setup. And all I'm saying to you is that that's the one thing that you have to worry about when you do this, is that, you know, you run into problems like that periodically. Other than that, I don't think you'll have any trouble. And I think you're going to probably be pretty pleasantly surprised at how easy it is to do this. I mean, you guys have some knowledge of Illustrator. You're going to be rather surprised when you see what I do and how easy it is to pull this off. The other thing is, I'm not going to go for perfection tonight. I'm just going to go in there and I'm going to do a demonstration. And I'll do a nice job, but I'm not going to, you know, really spend a ton of time refining it like I would normally do, okay? Because I don't want to bog us down with that. You understand what I'm saying? When I do this kind of work, I generally do a lot of refining to it. And when I do this tonight, I'll do some refining, but I'm going to try to do it in a kind of reserved way. So I don't know, do you guys have is there anything you want to ask me? Is there anything at all before we move on? Are you good? Everything's cool? You're fine? No problems, no questions, nothing?
I'm good so
No
far.
questions right now.
Okay. You don't think you'll have any trouble with the mood board?
I feel like we've made a mood board before, but it was in one of my earlier classes, and it was.
It's possible. It's possible.
He at 245 or 246.
You did a mood board for that?
Yeah, that's right.
What was the course? Do you remember?
I don't, but I can look it up.
That's all right. I just wondered. So you did the mood board before. So this shouldn't be totally new. Look, it's really not that difficult. All you're going to do, let me just get out of here. Well, you know what? I don't even need to do that for a second. Really, right down here, it tells you that your mood board, it gives you a size, so that's not hard. You just make a piece of art, you know, set up a page to that size. You only need 1 page for it. 11 by 14, either portrait or landscape. I personally went landscape, but it's up to you how you do it. And then there's certain required elements. They want you to come up with a color palette. They want you to show some typography. Now, again, the logo that you're going to be downloading, doesn't matter which project you choose. There's 3 projects. You're going to get a black and white logo, okay? What you're going to do here is you're going to pick color. And probably before the end of this course, I'm going to want to talk to you a little bit about color. Are you guys familiar with RGB and CMYK color?
Yes, as well as Pantone and all those spot colors.
You know the difference?
I know the difference.
Yes.
Well, yes.
What's the primary difference? Can somebody just in a nutshell tell me what the primary difference is between CMYK and spot color or Pantone? You remember?
CMYK are the main colors that that are used to create all the colors that we use for
Right.
printing.
Yeah.
But the spot colors are the colors that aren't necessarily in that little realm, and those are the ones that need to be made up, and they may not show up as well.
Well, here's what you're sort of right. What it is here in a nutshell, basically, there are just different color modes. There are different color modes, and two of the color modes are CMYK, and the other color mode is RGB. Now, Pantone is also a color mode. CMYK is used for full color printing. RGB is used for displays like your monitor. That's what you're using RGB for. Pantone color are essentially individual colors that come pre-mixed that are one color that get printed using one plate. That's what a Pantone color is. Now, where would you use a Pantone color? Well, let's say, for instance, that you're making a business card and you're not making a 4-color process business card. You're making a spot color business card, maybe a 2-color or a 3-color spot, or even a 1-color business card. You would use Pantone colors for that. Now, once you reach the point where you're using 4 colors or more, it doesn't make a whole lot of sense to use Pantone colors anymore, because today, CMYK printing, and what CMYK printing really is it's taking any particular color and dividing it up into its component parts of cyan, magenta, yellow, and black. The theory behind it is if you take any color and divide out the percentage of those 4 colors, you will get your color. Once you put them all back together, you'll get your color. Does that kind of make sense to you?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, that's basically what it is. Okay. Now, if you want, check this out. Come in here. We're going to look at this in a minute. Here's your color. Here's your color or your swatch library, right? Now, this is what your default color library looks like. If you were to open up any document at any time, this is what your color or your swatch library looks like. Okay. Now, this is my project. This is my mood board. Now, Tamara, you saw this, and I went over this with you, right? So you're clear on what you're going to do with this, right?
Yes.
Daryl, that's my mood board. So basically, what I did, and you'll see, I talked with Tamara about this in the last lesson. I basically went in and I chose a series of color from Adobe Color or Cooler, and I looked at, I believe I looked at hot sauce, Tabasco. I looked up Tabasco. I looked up hot sauce. What else? There might have been another one. And anyway, I chose 3 or 4 of the different libraries that I liked. And out of those 3 or 4 libraries that I found in Cooler, I selected, how many I got there? 6. I got 6 colors plus black and white. So my library is 6 colors plus black and white. And those are the colors that I chose to go with for my hot sauce, Wild Bill's hot sauce. That's how I did that. That's how you're going to do it. Okay, Daryl, you good with that?
I am A-okay with that.
Good. And then the other thing I did was we have a logo. Everybody's got a logo, black and white logo. I chose Wild Bill's, so what I did for my mood board is I actually went in, downloaded Wild Bill, and I put Wild Bill on my mood board because he becomes part of the elements that exist for my mood board. So he's there too. I also copied and pasted the copy that talks about Wild Bill onto my mood board. The reason I did that is because it gives a description of the hot sauce. It's saucy, sweet, and highly addictive. I put that up there for that purpose, just as a way of understanding what my ultimate goal is going to be for my hot sauce design. Are we cool with that?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. So then some of the other things we got a color palette, we have typography, we have shapes, we have textures, and we have imagery. So if you look here, I got some textures here. These are some textures that in my mind were very much in keeping with the concept of Wild Bill's hot sauce. This I thought would be the kind of things that I might possibly use, okay? For my type, what I did was I went in and I took a look from my own type library. I took a look at what types I had available to me. And I chose a series of types that I thought would work very well with my overall Wild Bill design. And I put them on there, and I got like 6 examples. I then went online and I looked for some graphics, some things. I found this sheriff badge, which I kind of like. And actually, I used a modified version of it. I'm not going to do it again tonight, but I demonstrated how I made my badge. You'll see how it's done. Tamara, you saw me do it, right? Was it hard?
No, it wasn't hard.
No, you could do
was
it.
Actually, pretty easy.
Yeah, you could do it real easy, right? After I showed you how to do it, it was simple.
Right.
It was like 3 steps. So it really is not hard to do.
A couple of triangles and some circles.
What?
Looks like a couple of triangles and some circles.
That's what it is. A couple of triangles and circles. And you can make a triangle one of 2 ways. You could either go in and adapt a star, or what you could do is you could use your rectangle tool and make yourself a square and delete one of the corner points, and you end up with a triangle. The star is what I did. I demonstrated it with a star. You can put as many points on a star as you want. I removed 2 of them and made it a 3-point star, which is a triangle. So that's basically what I did. And then I made a circle, and I used the center point to align the circle to the corner or the end point of my little star. I do that by going to the view menu and using smart guides. Okay, by having smart guides, it shows those points. And it's very easy to line the whole thing up. And then I use the Pathfinder palette. Tamara, you know that because you saw me do it. Daryl, you know the Pathfinder palette?
Yeah, I've used it. I'm not completely fluent in it, but yeah, I've been.
Okay. I just used the combine. There's just one there. You could also, there's a Pathfinder tool over there, but I tend to work with the Pathfinder palette because I'm more used to using it a lot. You know what I mean? Then the other thing that I did was I went in and I took a look at 2 things. I knew I was going to end up having to make a bottle. So I went in and I found some bottles that I liked, and I presented those bottles as part of my mood board. And I also grabbed some graphics, some labeling, or actually some branding elements, logos that were more, they're not true logos, they're more like logos for a container, like a Tabasco bottle. And I grabbed those logos and I put them there. Everything that I grabbed basically in one way or another helped me to figure out what I was going to do with my label. And that is what you need to produce. If you come up with something similar to what I got right there, you'll have no trouble getting a passing grade with it. So are there any questions? Any comments? Anything?
Nope.
No questions.
Okay.
But Daryl, if you don't know it already, Typekit is your friend.
That's true.
I love Typekit.
That's true. Typekit is your friend. There's lots of fonts in there, and you've got 1 of 3 different directions you could go in. Now, I want to talk a little bit about some technical stuff. Again, I am a graphic designer. I've been doing this for a very long time. I guess I should tell you that I've actually been doing it since 1971. That gives you an idea of how old I am. As a matter of fact, sometimes I'm amazed I'm not dead yet.
Wow, that was about 5 years before I was born.
I was around for a very long time, my dear. 1971 I started. I was in high school, and I answered an ad for some lady who had a business who wanted a graphic illustrator. And I walked in there, and she asked me what I had done before, and I showed her some stuff that I did. And she, I guess, liked me because I can't imagine she hired me because my work was all that good, because I was absolutely terrible. But she hired me nonetheless, and she started letting me do design work for her, and she worked with me. And that was 1971. I was a junior in high school back then. I graduated, I'm sorry, I was a sophomore in high school. I graduated in, so long ago, I graduated in 72. Yeah, graduated in 72. So I was actually a junior in high school. I was right the first time. So very long time ago. And what I wanted to show you, what I'm going to do tonight, I don't think I did this last time because I'm looking at my swatches panel. I want to talk to you very briefly about preparing yourself for work when you're working on projects. This is a really good example of one of the things that I do. Like right now, if you take a look at my screen, you see I got my mood board up here. And I got this thing over here, which was something I was playing with the last lesson. So it's not really much importance. But I also have my swatches panel out. And I was mentioning to you a little while ago that the swatches panel usually has color in it. Whenever you open up a new document, there's these colors. You guys are familiar with that, right? You know that every time you open up the swatches panel, you get those default colors there, right?
Yes.
Right.
Yeah. Well, in a way, I mean, it's not that there's anything really wrong with them, but in a way, they're kind of useless colors. They're not really colors that relate to anything that you're doing. They're just kind of there, and you can play with them, but they're not of a tremendous amount of value, because usually as a graphic designer, when you're working on a project, you're going to go in there and you're going to establish your own color range that you're going to work with. And here's a very good example. I got a project here. It's a mood board. And what I'm ultimately going to do is I'm going to move out from my mood board into creating things like labels and packaging and even some models. So, I have these colors that I chose. And then I have my swatches panel. And in my swatches panel, I got all these other colors, which mean very little, if anything, to me. They probably mean nothing to me. As a matter of fact, I'm almost absolutely certain that not one of my colors is actually in there. These are all different colors. They're all different than the ones that I have up here, okay? So one of the things that I would do as a graphic designer, and I mention this to you because, it's part of the process of learning how to work and behave and act like a graphic designer, is to control your environment. And right now, your environment is Adobe Illustrator. So you have the swatches panel over here, and you have some colors over here, which you're going to be using. And you got all this stuff in here, which is kind of like, in a way, just a lot of noise. You know what I mean when I say it's just a lot of noise, right? It's stuff that's kind of in the way.
Talking about just like
the colors. All these colors. None of them I'm going to use. They're all just in there. And they have no relevance at all to the end result, which will be my art project. Correct?
Are you able to get rid of all of them and just put just the ones you need in there?
No, I'm going to remove them all. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to put my colors in there. That's what I'm actually going to do. And the whole purpose of me explaining this to you is because I want you to get into the habit as a graphic designer of doing these things. These things are kind of important because, again, it's your Illustrator, it's your project, and you probably should do these little steps to make it more organized, make it, generally speaking, more organized. Not just for you, but for anybody else that might get this. Like, let's say, for instance, you and me and Tamara are all working together as graphic designers somewhere. And let's say I'm working on a project. And let's say I get sick for a couple of days. And this project has to be moved forward. So they hand it over to Tamara. Okay? I don't hand it over to Tamara because I'm homesick. But somebody hands it over to Tamara. You have to open this up and make sense of it. So everything that I can do to make my overall environment make sense for you, Tamara, or you, Daryl, is a good thing. That's what I'm saying. So if you came in here and all these colors were in here, and these colors were not, if let's say it was on another piece and all these colors were not in there, okay, they were in here, you could easily get confused with the reds and the yellows. Are you picking the right yellow? Are you picking the right red? You see my point?
I do, and
Yes.
it all makes so much sense.
Yeah. So really what you want to do as a graphic designer is you want to take a look at certain things. Here's another one. There's the symbol panel. You see those symbols in there? I know there's not a lot of them, but there are symbols in there, and those symbols are meaningless to you. You're never going to use them. You're going to probably, if you do anything, you're going to make your own symbol. So here's another situation where if you're going to be working with the appearance or the symbol panel or the swatches panel, and I don't know, you may not use the symbol panel every single time, but you will be using the swatches panel every single time. I promise you, okay? It really makes sense to organize your panels in some way or another. And this is a very good way to do it. And it's very simple. And when I do this for you, I strongly recommend that you all begin to work this way. And actually, until you learn the process, I would deliberately go out of my way to do it, just to make it part of your overall routine. I guarantee you down the road, you're going to find it to be extremely valuable in terms of organizing yourself as a graphic designer. Okay? Any questions?
No questions.
Okay, so here's what we do. It's really simple. You notice they have this little drop-down menu up here? And all you're going to do is you're going to go down to where it says select all unused. And you're going to click that. And when you do that, you see how all of these things get that little white border around it?
Yes.
All you do is click the garbage can and it says, do you want to delete all these? Yes. Boom, they're all gone. Look at that. And now you click that guy because it didn't go away. It's a duplicate black. You got black there, so you don't need that. Hit the garbage can, it's gone. There you go. So what you're left with is none, registration, white, and black. Now, white and black you can leave alone because you'll see I have white and black in my palette. Registration is a special color that's used when you are actually setting up a job for a printer. So you would leave that black alone. You don't use that registration color for anything other than printer instructions. You don't use it for a color on your page. And of course, you know what the none color means. It means that if you click that button on a fill, say, you'll get none, correct?
Correct.
Correct.
Okay. Now what you do is this. You come in here and you click on any one of your colors. And you see what happens? It shows it in the fill. Then all you got to do is come in here and new swatch. And you right now it's an RGB color. It's set up for RGB, okay? And I'm going to leave it for the time being because I'll deal with color in a second. But this is RGB, and I'm going to basically leave it alone. I could go in and I could call it Wild Bill Green if I want. And I'll tell you what, I will do that. WILDBILLGREEN. So now that one's called Wild Bill Green. And now if I sit over top of it, Wild Bill Green, okay? Now I'm going to click on the red. And I'm going to come back and do the same thing again. New swatch. Whoops, I don't want the libraries. New swatch. And I would Wild Bill bright red. I'm just going to leave the number RGB for now, though. You understand. Click on that, okay? And now I got that color in there. And I'm going to click on my orange. Same thing with my orange. New swatch. I'm going to leave the default color for the time being. And now I have my orange. And I would do that with all of my colors, okay? New swatch, okay? And there's the brown, new swatch. And okay, now here's something that you want to look at. This is a RGB. I want you to take a look right here. Do you see that little thing right there? Have you ever seen that before? Has anybody talked to you about that before? A gambit warning?
No, nobody's ever mentioned anything like that before.
Okay, a gambit is a range of color. And there are two specific types of gambit or ranges of color that we deal with here primarily. And that is CMYK print and web. When a color, any color, is not falling within the range of color for the web, you will get in your color, either in your swatches. I'm going to hit OK on this one. Now watch this. Double click here. Okay, look at here. You see the same little gambit warning right there in your color picker?
Uh-huh.
Okay, what that's telling you is that the color that I've chosen will not display properly on the web. And in order for me to make it display properly on the web, I would have to click that right there in web color, click to correct. I'm not doing it because I'm not using this for the web, but that's what this is for. Now, there's also another gambit warning that comes up, and it's a little triangle, and that is an out of print gambit warning. And it also is simply telling me that the color is not going to print quite right in CMYK. So right there are two little things that probably nobody's ever bothered to tell you about that I think is very important for you to know. Am I right? Did anybody ever describe this to you before, explain this to you before?
Nope, but that is important.
No.
Do you have any
Yeah, that is
questions?
important. No.
You got any questions about it?
No.
I mean,
No.
it's rather simple. There are, and unfortunately, I'm not getting the other gambit warning. I'm going to hit OK. I already got that color in there. So you know what? I can do this. I'm going to see if I can get it. There it is. See it? See the other gambit warning?
And what does that mean?
Yes.
That one means, the one on top with the triangle means that that color red that I have circled right here, that's the color we're talking about. That color can't properly print or can't properly display. Display on the web, print in CMYK. Now, if I want this thing to go to print, if I want that color to go to print, in order for me to make that color in Gambit, I'd have to click that little square to correct it. If I want it to go to web, I would have to click here to correct it. Okay? That's what it means. And it's actually kind of important that you know what they mean, because right now you're learning, but there'll come a time when you're actually going to be working somewhere and you'll be working with color and you'll see these little warnings come up, and you need to realize that these warnings mean something to you, and it all depends on what you're working on. If you're working in a place that's doing web work and you're creating art for the web, well, then you need to know that when you pick a color and it's out of web, you click it to correct it, and that will correct it. If you're working on a print project and you see this come up, you need to know that you have to click that to correct it, because that color right there doesn't fall properly within the gambit or range of color that works for print. Okay?
Makes sense.
Okay,
Got it.
good. I cancel on that because I already got it. I think I got it, yeah. And then this one here is my last one. All right, hit OK. Okay, so now you see what I got. This is the whole point. If you take a look at this, I don't want my library. If you take a look at this, this is what my swatch panel should look like. Because now I've actually gone in and I've applied color to my swatch panel that makes sense for my project. I already know that I'm assuming that my mood board has ultimately been approved by whoever it is I'm working with, you know, my creative director or my marketing director or whoever it is I'm working with has looked at my mood board and has accepted my premise and is now saying, okay, I want you to move forward with the project. So what I would do is I would go in there and I would apply those colors to my swatches. Now if I get sick and Tamara has to pick up for me, Tamara has my colors. She knows what my colors are. She absolutely is certain that those colors are right because she'll know that I put them in there for that reason. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay.
That makes perfect sense.
Got any questions at all or at all about this?
No?
Okay. So there's one more thing that I don't know whether anybody has shown you or not, but there is a difference between there are different types of colors. Let's put it that way. There are different types of colors. Right now, these are just raw colors. Right now, they're just plain ordinary raw colors that I picked out, you know, of Adobe Color, Cooler. There are process colors, and there are spot colors. Now, what I want to show you right now is how to set these colors right here so that they become process or spot colors. And then after I do that, I'll explain how you need to be careful with them. Okay, so really, to make these things either process or spot, it's very simple. All you have to do is double click on the color. Double click. Come on, there it is. And the swatch options come up. And notice that right here, it says color type process or color type spot. Okay? Now, I'm going to set this to color type spot, and I'm going to hit OK. And take a look. You see what happened to that little color chip?
Yeah, it looks like it's one of the Pantone colors.
That's exactly right. When you turn this into a spot color, you get a little corner clipping off, and there's a little spot in it. That's the symbol to indicate that that's a spot color. Okay?
Okay, so
Works
I
for
can
me.
do that one more time.
Yeah, watch. I'll do it with this one. Double click, and it's color type, process or spot. I'm going to change it to spot, and I'm going to hit OK. And now that is a spot color.
Okay.
Okay? Now, if I were going to do that to all of these things, they'd all be spot colors. Now, here's the other thing. If I double click on this guy, I come in here and change it from spot color to process color and hit OK. You see what happens? You still get that little corner chip. But do you see where the spot is gone?
Uh-huh.
Okay, this is also a very important thing for you to understand. That color that is up there is now a process color. That color is acceptable in a process environment. It's really important that you know this stuff, because if somebody tells you specifically that they want your colors to be in process color, you actually have to choose the color and make them process, which is what I just did. And that's as simple as that to do it. Okay? So I'm going to double click on this one, change it from spot to process, and hit OK. And I would do the same thing with the rest of these things. I would change it to process color. Okay? Come in here, and it actually is not reading it. I'll have to go to spot first and hit OK. And then I can change it again. I'll change it back into process color. Okay? And now double click on this. Hit OK. The reason I'm doing it this way is so now I have my little corner chips, and I know for a fact that I have process colors. Okay, double click it and change it to process and hit OK. All right, and so on and so forth until you get all your colors done. Right? And now we know every one of those colors is a process color. Now, let me explain to you why it's so important to do this. Because if you are working on a project like we are going to be working on, we're going to be working on labels, and we're going to be working on a box. If you accidentally go in there and set up a spot color, spot colors, if you remember what I said a little while ago, spot colors are individual colors. They're not made up of four components of CMYK. They're individual premixed colors. And they need their own plate to print on. And it would mean that it would cost a person extra money to print a spot color. So if I were to go in there and make a design for this logo or this emblem, and if I had made it all out of spot colors, and let's say I used all 6 of those colors, and I'm making a 4-color process job, the printer, if you would want to print that job, if I make those spot colors, would have to have 6 separate plates, which would cost a fortune, and it would be incorrect. Am I making any sense when I say this to you, or am I losing you?
I think
No, you're making sense.
It's really simple, actually. It's just that color that is process color is one kind of color. And when you're working in 4-color process, you have to make sure that your color is 4-color process, that it is not Pantone color. Pantone color is totally different color. It's like getting a can of cat food, Okay, when you get a Pantone color, it's a can, and you open the can up, and the can is containing that color. See that color right there? The can is full of printing ink that's that color. It's pre-mixed. It's manufactured by a company to be exactly that color. And you don't have to separate it. You just simply put it on a plate, and you print it on your paper, and it comes out that color. That is not processed. That is not four-color process. That is not what we're doing. So the reason I'm mentioning this to you is because part of the lesson is that you're going to be working on four-color process. In my opinion, you should have some idea of what the difference is. And am I wrong in saying that this is the first time anybody's explained this to you?
Yes, and I'm just trying to make sure I'm following you real quick.
Ask questions.
Okay, so spot is the one that, okay.
Spot color is basically the one that already, it comes in a can, is what you're saying?
Yep.
Okay,
Yep.
so the best way for me to think about that is like Coca-Cola red. Like if a company wanted that, they'd give you that specific red to print their stuff with.
Absolutely. And as a matter of fact, a company like Coca-Cola would very probably be using a spot color for their Coca-Cola red because they would want that red to be dead on the money, and they would pay more money for it. And I would tell you that Coca-Cola is such a huge customer that the printing company would probably not charge them a whole lot for doing it because they would be making so much money off of Coca-Cola's work. But that's a perfect example of where a spot color would come into play. Some big-time player like Coca-Cola, who has a very specific color that they've chose, would run that color as a spot color to guarantee it is up to the brand standards. You know what branding is, right? Have you had that in your classes yet?
Yeah. Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, branding elements and branding standards are incredibly important. And the bigger and more valuable the company is, the more power and emphasis they place on the brand. And it's very important for graphic designers to have a great deal of respect and have some knowledge about all this. So, yes. Any other questions? You good?
I'm good.
I'm good. Thank you.
Okay. Now, you do the same thing. You would do the same thing with symbols here. I mean, if you're going to work with symbols, what I would do, I always come in and I just come down and go select all unused, and I delete all my symbols. Okay. And then when I create something like later on, what we're going to do is we're going to create a label, and we're going to apply a label to our 3D model. And that 3D model has the ability to put a label on it if it's a symbol. And I'll show you how to do that. We probably won't get there tonight, but I'll show you how to do that in weeks to come. All right? That's part of the process. Creating a symbol from your label is part of the process involved in applying your label to a 3D revolved model or a 3D extruded model. Okay? All right, so here's my hot sauce. There's my hot sauce. Tamara, you saw this. Daryl, you haven't.
Yes.
Okay, so this is my hot sauce. Now, this is what we're going to end up doing. So it's like we're way ahead of ourselves, but that's okay. There's a very good reason why we want to do this. I want to show you how to approach doing this so that you have a good bit of time to actually go in and practice and fail. And if you have questions, you can come see me and you can get this down. It's not that difficult, but it does require a little tiny bit of work to pull it off. I'm going to go through the process of doing this. I'm going to show you how I create a form for this. Let me go to the window menu. Let me select all these things. Oh, actually, you know what? I think I'll just select those two right there. I'll select this guy. That guy. No, you know what? I'll select this guy. That's the one I'll select. Let me go to my layers panel right here. And let me unlock my layers. Let me select this guy right here. And you already can see something's going on here. I'm going to go to the window menu, and I'm going to open up. Come on. I'm going to go to window, open. I'm going to go to appearance. And the appearance panel, this is very important that you know this. Have either one of you ever worked with the appearance panel before?
No.
Okay, the appearance panel can do all kinds of things for you. As a matter of fact, one of the really great things that the appearance panel can do for you is it can give you beautiful stroked text. If you try to put a stroke on text without using the appearance panel, you end up with absolute garbage. So when you want to really put nice strokes around text, you do that with the appearance panel. As a matter of fact, at the end of the night, if I have some moments, one of you guys remind me and I'll show you how that works. You know what I'm saying when I say stroked text, typed with a stroke around it as opposed to a fill, or a stroke with a fill?
Yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about.
Okay. If you do it without using the appearance panel, it ends up looking really bad, and it's a very, very poor method to do it. With the appearance panel, you come up with something that's absolutely sensational. But let me just show you what I'm going to do with the appearance panel right now. This is my 3D model. The appearance panel records everything that you do. So I've got a 3D revolve around this. And if I hit the eyeball, I'm going to toggle the visibility of that 3D revolve. So when I do that, I can now click and I can deselect this. And you see what I made? You see the shape that I made to make my bottle? Does everybody see what I did there? That is called a profile. Okay? What I'm about to do with this is I'm about to take that profile and I'm going to revolve that profile. I'm not going to do it. Illustrator is going to do it. Adobe Illustrator is going to revolve that profile for me and make it so I can actually have what looks like a realistic looking bottle. And it's the same thing. It's the same thing with this box over here. I can create a shape, a basic shape, which I'll do in a little while, and show you how to extrude that out and make a box, and then you can apply your graphics to that box. You can also apply graphics to your bottle of hot sauce, okay? This is what I'm going to do. I would like to teach you guys how to do this. If you do this, what do you guys think? Would you like to have a prototype like this in your portfolio?
Yeah, that would be cool.
Yeah. Well, I think you can do it because I don't think it's incredibly difficult. I think it's something that you could do. And I'm going to show you how to do it tonight. And the reason I'm doing it tonight is because you still got 3 full weeks left to play with this and learn it. And I think it is something that you definitely should learn. And if you learn this in this course, this alone will be worth the price of admission. Okay? All right, let me show you how I'm going to do this. So what I'm going to do is I'll open up my layers panel for a minute. I have a layer here. I got original. There's my original. See the original? That's the bottle that I'm going to use to create my profile, okay? I got the done layer. Right there's my done layer. And it'll come up and it'll go away, all right? And I'm going to hide that layer. And I'm going to show my original layer. And then I have this layer. I'm going to lock the done layer. And I'm going to lock the original layer, okay? I have a layer called do. And the only reason I call it do is because I'm not very imaginative. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you how to do this. So that's why I call it the do layer, all right? So my original's down here at the bottom. And that's what I'm going to use as my template to create this. Already done is on that layer. And I've hid that so that we can concentrate on what I'm about to do. Okay, we good so far?
Yes.
All right. So the first thing, did you say something, Namar?
No, go ahead. I'm good.
All right. So first thing that I want to do here is I want to drag a guide out. And what I want to do is I want to put the guide in about the middle of that bottle. It should be, as close to the middle of the bottle as you possibly can make it. I'm probably pretty good right about, oh boy, this is hard. Right about, I'm going to go there. It's good enough, I think. Okay, go to the view menu, the top. View, guides, show guides. There it is. And actually, I got another guide out here. Let me go to the window menu, view, guides, unlock guides. Let me get rid of that because I don't really need that one. Did I lock it? View guides. Yeah, no, it's unlocked. What the heck's the story here? Oh, you know why? It's on another layer. That's why. Oh. What layer is it on? Hold on. Let me see what layer that's on. Okay, delete it. Okay, get that out of here. Get that out of here. Get that out of here. And I think I got 2 here. That looks like 2. Yep, delete it. There we go. Okay, I think we're good. Hide that. Son of a gun. All right, well, you know what? I'm going to have to do it again. Lock that layer and drag the guide out. That should do it. Okay, I think we're good. All right, there it is. All right, and I'm going to go View Guides, Lock Guides. I want to lock that guide down. The reason I want to lock that guide down is I'm about to start working with the basic shape tools. I'm going to use 2 things. I'm going to use this guy right here. Have you ever done this before? Have either one of you ever done that before?
No.
Okay.
No.
All right. So you know that each one of these tools, not every single one, but many of these tools have more than one tool associated with it, right? In Illustrator, you have this great capacity to be able to click on that and bring that little panel up. And if you go all the way over to the right here, you see there's a little tab there with a little arrow. You see that where I'm sitting?
I do now, yes.
That's actually called the tear out. It's actually got a name for that thing. And you click on that, and now you have all of those tools that you can bring out and sit close by you to work with. Hi, there's somebody new here, Brianne. You want to say hello to everybody real quick?
Hello, everybody.
How you doing?
I'm good, thank you. How are you?
Good. Are you okay so far? I asked the other 2 this. Are you okay with the assignment, the assessment, and all that stuff?
As far as I know,
Okay. I'm only asking, do you have any questions or anything or any issues?
not at this point, no.
Okay. Very quickly, when you watch the video, you'll get a better explanation of what's going on. But what I'm doing is we have a final, and the final is going to be that you have to create a form of a bottle, and you have to create a box. And I'm showing you this week at the very beginning how to do that. The reason that I'm doing that is because I want to give you as much time as possible to digest this and to maybe even go in and play with this. This is a lot of fun, and it is something that you can do. I want you to have as much time as possible to go in and fool around with this and digest this. So I'm going to show it to you this week, and then as the weeks progress and you work with it, you can show me what you did, or if you have problems, you can talk to me about the problems, and I can get you at the end to be able to handle this. Okay?
Oh, that sounds great. Thank you.
Okay, so I'm going to bring these tools out because I'm going to use, that's not the right tool. I want the pen tool. I'm going to use the pen tool. So I use the tear out and bring the pen tool out, okay? And the other tool I need are the basic shape tool. Although I only need really 1 tool, I'll bring them out anyway, okay? And now what I'm going to do is I want to get these tools rather close to this because I'm going to zoom in. I'm going to come in here and I'm going to zoom in on this guy. Okay, so let's bring this thing right up. And 1 more is good. That's probably okay. And all right, and I'm going to actually, I'm all set with my layers. Yes, okay. I'm going to actually move this down a little bit. All right, so now here's the deal. I should probably show this, Brianne, since you're here. You don't know exactly what we're doing. Let me just quickly show you what we're doing. It just occurred to me, she probably doesn't really know what we're doing. This is what we're doing. This is my bottle. That's what you guys are going to make. Now, you're going to make something. It doesn't necessarily, you're not necessarily going to use the Wild Bill, but there's 1 of 3 projects, and both of them, all 3 of them involve probably making some sort of bottle and some sort of box. So what I am doing is I'm demonstrating how I went about making my 3D model, okay? That's what we're doing, all right? And as a matter of fact, you know what I'm thinking now? I think what I'm going to do is, I'm going to take this guy, and I think I'm going to bring that up to the do layer so we actually have a model to look at as we do this. And I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to reduce the size of it too. Let's bring it down to about 70%. 70% and hit OK. There we go. Perfect. All right. The reason I'm doing this is because now we actually have a sample to look at. This is what I'm doing. This is exactly what I'm doing. Okay, guys, you good?
Yes. Yes, I'm good.
All right.
Yes.
So I'm going to hide this layer. Make sure I'm on the do layer, lock that layer. And then I'm going to come in here once again and let's zoom in on this. That's probably pretty good. And I'm going to move it over this way a little bit. Okay, now here's what I want you to do. I want you to take a look at this. Take a look at this. This is the piece that I'm about to do. Okay, that's the piece that I'm going to do. This is the cap. That's the piece I'm going to do for the cap. It looks complicated, but believe me, it's not that difficult to do. It's rather simple. Now I'm going to show you how to do it right now. The bottom line is that we're going to use basic shapes wherever possible. We're not going to be able to use basic shapes everywhere, but we'll use basic shapes wherever possible. And then what's very important is that you have a little bit of control with your pen tool. Here's something that you need to know. I use only as many anchor points as I absolutely need to create my shape. The reason is the more anchor points you have, the more points of interest there is on your revolve, the more detail you get. And you only want detail in certain places. So you want to be very careful when you use your anchor points and line segments, okay? That's the only thing I wanted to warn you about, all right? All right, here we go. So I'm going to come in here and I'm going to grab my rounded rectangle. And then I'm going to come over here on my guide. And all I'm going to do is I'm going to sit right in the center and I'm going to click and I'm going to drag out a rounded rectangle about the size of my cap, which is right about there. And I think I probably want to make my my corners a little bit more curved. Now, if I'm holding the mouse down, this is the important thing. And as a matter of fact, I think I got to go a little bit lower. I think I got to actually go to here. Yeah, I got to go to about there. That's where I got to go. If I want to make my corners more curving or more, round or square, I can use, I'm holding the mouse down. I use the up arrow, and you see when I use the up arrow, do you see how my corners become less? See? And they become squarer. And if I go the other way, it becomes more round. Can you see what I'm doing?
Yes.
Okay. So I think I'm going to go right about there, and I think I'll come a little bit lower. Right about there is good. Okay? So there is my first, and I'll bring out my layers. Let me actually bring my layers out and put them way over here. Okay, the reason I'm doing this is because now I can hide the back and you can actually see what I did. See what I did there? That's what I did. Now, I made one mistake, and that is that I don't have a color. I don't have anything on this. So I'm just going to put black on that. Okay? So now I actually have a stroke of black, and I have no fill. All right? That's what I want. I want a stroke of black and no fill for my art that I'm working with. Okay? Now, I need to make this thing into a cap. So what I'm going to have to do is I'm going to have to get rid of the curving on this side. Now I can do that. I can actually do that by just dragging this thing over like that. Okay? And you see how by doing that, you see how I end up with a straight line here and a straight line there because I got this thing all the way over there? You see what I'm doing? There's my center. I end up with a straight edge there because I've moved this over and I've eliminated that curve. Do you understand what I'm talking about?
No.
Yes.
Okay. Look at my shape. I want the shape to look like that. I don't want that curve here. I want it to be square. There's my center line. This is where I'm going to cut my piece at the end. So if I didn't do this, watch, Control Z, you see how it's curved there?
Okay.
That's not what I want. I want it to be straight like that. So the easiest way to do it, and what I'm trying to point out to you is that I'm trying to show you the simplest way to go about doing this. Because once you do this a simple way, and once you understand how it works, You can go in and you can start doing all sorts of crazy stuff with this, and you'll have a lot of fun with it. If you go to my website, wrsdesign.com, I built my website using Adobe Muse, and I have almost every single graphic element that's on my my website is made up using Adobe 3D. I have felt tip markers, I have X-Acto knives, I have highlighters, I have pencils, I have brushes. Every single one of them was made using Adobe 3D. And if you take a look at them, they almost look like photographs of the real thing. That's how powerful this is. Once you are comfortable with it, I'm just trying to get you comfortable with it. That's all I'm trying to do now. Okay? Are we good?
We're good.
All right, so I'm going to move this over like this. And again, I'm thinking about this in the simplest terms. All right, now I want to put that circle in there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come over here. I'm going to get the ellipse tool, and I'm going to come in that area, hold the shift key down, and I'm going to drag myself out a circle that's, oh, that's a little bit big. So let me make it a little bit smaller, probably about like that's good. That's probably good. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to get my move tool, and I'm going to select these two objects, and I'm going to go to my align panel, and I want to align them to the bottom. Okay, whoop, oh, you know why? Oh, edit undo. I forgot one thing. Edit undo. I forgot one very important thing. I don't want to align it to the artboard. Align it to selection. Okay, I had it set wrong. I had it set to align to artboard. Now it's aligned to a selection. Do that. Okay, so you see how that moved it down a little bit? I want to move it up a little bit now. Okay, and what I want to do is I want that look. So I'm going to deselect it. I'm going to click on my little circle, and I'm very carefully just going to move it over until the thing sits like that. And I went a little too far. Let me go back one. That's probably good. That's perfect right there. So you see, can you see what's happening?
Yes.
Can you see how that's beginning to look like that?
Yes.
Yeah, I can see it.
Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to select both of those guys by marqueeing. You guys know what marqueeing is, right?
Yes.
Okay, I'm going to select them both by marqueeing, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to my Pathfinder panel. I don't know whether I have the Pathfinder panel out. Nope, I don't. Let's go to Window. Let's go to Pathfinder. Right here. Boom, Pathfinder. Okay, and I'm going to move my Pathfinder, come on, over here a little bit. And I'm just going to use the combine, or unite, I should say, unite. Both of these are selected. I hit unite, and I get that. Look at that. See how that now looks like that?
Yep.
Close enough, right?
Nice.
All right. Now, so that you guys understand what the heck I was doing here, I am going to cut this bit out because I need it to end up looking like this. I need what's called a profile. I want you to think in terms of a profile. That's what we're creating. We're creating a profile for our object. That's what we're creating. It's a profile. So it's important for you to think about this as a profile, all right? As a matter of fact, you know what? Let me do this. Let me go edit, undo, and let me do this. Let me just click on this, and let me go edit, copy. All right, and now let me go back in and let me do that again, and I'll go edit, paste, and now I have another one of those little circles because I'm going to use this circle a bunch of other times. So I'll have consistency, okay? All right, now watch what I'm going to do. I want to cut this thing. I want to get this thing cut. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come in to see where the eraser is.
Yes.
Okay, there's a tool in there called the scissors tool. All right, have you ever worked with the scissors tool yet?
I have not.
No, I haven't either. And I've always wanted to try to work with it.
So it's simple. All you are really doing is using that scissor tool to clip into your path. Now, I have a guide here. See my guide? I'm going to very carefully go and sit right on top of that guide and make sure I'm sitting right on my path. I want to get right on my guide and right on my path, and I click, and it cut that path. Now watch, I'll do it again. I'll come down at the bottom, and I'm going to sit here, and I'm going to click, and it cut that path. Now watch this. This is cool. I'm going to come over here, click on that. Bye-bye. That's all there is to doing this, guys. And it's the same with the rest of this thing. You're using your graphic. Let me get to my layers. Where'd my layers go? Did I put the layers away? Oh, here they are. Look, I'm using my overall shape to draw over, okay? And then I'm just creating my little objects. Now, just to give you an idea of how easy this really is, okay? What I'm going to do is I'm going to change this to my red color. I'm going to come up here and I'm going to pick a red. I know this is not my proper colors and everything, but I'm going to put a red in there because I want to show you what the cap's going to look like. Now I'm going to go to the effect menu. I'm going to go to 3D and I'm going to go to revolve. And watch when I move this thing over here, and watch when I hit preview. Look at that. Is that nuts? You just made a cap, guys. I mean, that's how simple it is. You think you could do that?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I mean, this is nothing to it, right? This is what I wanted you to see. I wanted you to see how simple this is. I hope you get excited about this, and I hope you actually go in there and you play with this, because I definitely think that you can create a really beautiful 3D rendered bottle. I'll show you next week how to apply the graphics to it, and you'll actually be able to make a really good portfolio piece with this. All right, so I'm going to cancel this. Any questions about this?
No, that's cool.
All right, let's go back and let's do a little tiny bit more. I'm going to do the bottle. I'm going to at least do the bottle, and then I'll probably move on, because I want to make sure I get to the other part, which is the box. Okay, so the same thing holds true with the bottle. Only difference is I'm not going to be able to make the bottle. I'm not going to be able to make the bottle with a basic shape. I could probably make parts of it with a basic shape, but I actually think it's better to start working with the pen tool, okay? And I'm going to take my time with this, and you guys can ask any questions that you want. So again, just keep it in mind. I'm going to click on the regular pen tool. I'm going to start over here on my guide, and I'm going to click, and I'm going to hold down the shift key, and I'm going to come over to about here, and I'm going to click again. And then I'm going to drop way down to about here, holding the shift key down, right about there, click. And then I'm going to come over to here, right about here. And this time, instead of just clicking, I'm going to click, and I'm going to carefully drag this out. Got to be careful how you do this, because you got to get it just right. Okay? See how I did it?
Yeah, I see.
Okay. Then what I'm going to do is come over here, and I'm going to click here. And then I'm going to drop down to, say, right about there. And I'm going to click a little tiny bit just to give myself a bit of a curve, to get my curve started. You see my curve starting? Then I'm going to come right over to here. And I'm going to click, and I'm going to carefully drag out another nice little curved line that follows the contour of that bottle. You see what I'm doing?
Yes.
Okay, then I'm going to click here again, and I'm going to come down, and I'm going to let the screen redraw. If it'll do it. It's not going to let me redraw. Son of a gun. Here we go. Come way down to here, right? Come way down to here. Click, okay? And then I'm going to come around to here, and I'm going to click, and I'm going to carefully drag. Now you can adjust this. They can all be adjusted, but you want to try to do as good of a job as you can in the first shot. Then I'm going to click here, and then I'm going to hold the shift key down, and I'm just going to come straight over to here and click. Okay? Now, does that seem hard to you?
No.
Okay. Now I'm going to go up to the top. Let me go up to the top, and let me show you how I'm going to finish this bottle off. And you're going to be amazed at how easy this is. Come up here, and I'm going to click where I started. You always got to close your shape by going to where you started. You know that, right?
Yes.
You know it now if you don't. And another thing to look for when you're actually sitting over top of your first shape, or your first anchor point, you see the little circle at the end of my little pen tool?
Yeah.
Yes.
That's the cue to tell you that you're in the proper position, correct? You know that?
I did not.
Yeah. Yeah, I
Now
knew
you
that.
do. You look for the little circle, and now look, watch this. When I hide this layer, look at that. I'm going to deselect this guy. Now watch what happens. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take this guy right here, and I'm going to bring this guy in, and I'm going to place this guy. I got to place him just right. I think that's probably good right there. He probably should come down a little lower. Let me come in here. Whoops, 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 whoops. Let me get that out of the way. I've got to fool with this just a tiny bit. I know I'm being really fussy about this, but I like being fussy. It's who I am. There we go. That's perfect. See what I did? And copy it. Edit, copy. Okay. Edit, paste. And now we have another one. Okay. We want to make sure that we have several of these. Control Z. Let me just drag it over. Come on. Come on. Come on. Oh, come on. Move. There we go. Okay. So let's go to the view menu and let's zoom out. All right. So what I'm doing now is I'm going to come back and put my graphic back on. Let me go to my layers and show you my bottle. Okay. So here's my bottle. This is the important thing. What I'm doing here essentially is I'm placing these little circles in strategic locations where they really belong. This is really hard to get. This is so small. It's hard to get. Let's go to the view menu. Let me see something here. View, hide bounding box. Now we've got it. Okay. All right, now watch.
I didn't know you could do that.
Yeah, you didn't know that? I'm
No,
sorry.
thanks for showing
I
me.
can't stand the bounding box. I
Oh,
can't
man.
stand it. I absolutely hate it.
I've had so many problems with that. I would get real frustrated and wanted to kill my computer.
That right there, see that tool right there, the free transform tool?
Uh,
That's your bounding box, for Christ's sakes. You don't need the bounding box. The bounding box is something that the program puts on by default, and you don't need it. It's absolutely pointless. So you don't want to have it on. I generally, if I need it, I use it there. So yes, you can just go to the view menu, and you can either choose to bring your bounding box back. Come on. Go to the view menu and either bring your bounding box by showing it, okay? Or me, I'm hiding it because I don't like it, okay? I'm going to hide my original, and I'm going to take my little circle. What I'm doing now is I'm just adding some really cool details to my little bottle, all right? And I'm even going to zoom in here to make sure I like the placement of it, okay? Because this is all going to count in the end, you know? Oh, that's perfect. See how that is and how that is?
yep.
Wait till you see what this is going to do in the end. You're going to absolutely love this. And it's so simple. Come on, you're going to tell me this isn't easy to do? There isn't one person in this room tonight couldn't do this. Am I right?
Oh, this is cool.
This is easy. So and this is even easier. Watch what I do here. All right, I know this is a good position, so I'm going to select this, edit, copy. Okay, and now I'm going to bring back my my model. And I'm going to scroll this thing down a little bit. And I got 3 of these guys right down here. So I'm going to go edit, paste in place. And I pasted it in place. I'm going to hold the shift key down and the down arrow. And I'm going to move this thing down until I place it where I want it. And I'm going to place it right there. Okay? Now, it's a little bit on the big side, so I'm going to go with 2 instead of 3. I'll go edit, copy, edit, paste in place, and then I'm just going to down arrow that one until I get it right about there. I'll have 2 instead of 3, okay? Are you with me so far?
Yep.
Is
Yeah,
that
I'm with you.
smart? Okay, now I'm going to bring this thing up a little tiny bit. And once again, just like I did before, I'm going to marquee all the elements. Let me see if I didn't do that very well. All right, let me do this. Hold on. Let me marquee all those elements. I got all my elements marqueed, all of them. See them? Those are all my elements. You with me?
Yep.
With you.
Pathfinder, unite. Look at that. Isn't that nuts?
Yeah.
How easy was that? And actually take a look. Look at how cleanly that curve came out. See what I mean? If you just take your time and you do it easy, and look at how clean that line came out. And even that curve. See how clean that curve came out? You guys
Cool.
could do this. You guys could do this. I'm telling you. All right, now here's what we want to do. Because we want this to be a profile, we're going to go back to the scissors tool, and we're going to come down here, and we're going to click here. And then we're going to come up here, and we're going to click here. Okay? And then what I'm going to do is select that, if I can, and delete it. Look at that. See how easy that is? That right there, that is what you're looking for. Okay? Now, we don't want it to be black. So what we're going to do is we're going to select it. We're going to go to the stroke. Double click on the stroke. And I'm going to choose a very light gray color, very much like that color right there. See it? Light gray? And hit OK. Now watch when I deselect it. See what I got?
Yep.
All right, now watch this. Here's the problem. You guys, are you familiar with stacking order? You know what stacking order means, don't you?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, so if I were to just select these two and revolve them right now, what was the first element that I created?
The cap.
Right, and that
Cap.
means that in the stacking order of things, the bottle is in front of the cap, isn't it?
Yes.
Okay,
Right.
and that is not the correct order. So what I need to do is I need to click on the cap, or I can click on the bottle. One or the other. I'll click on the cap. And I'm just going to go to the Object menu, Arrange, Bring to Front, and now my cap is in front of my bottle.
What's
Okay.
the difference between bring to front and bring forward?
Bring forward, it means it's just going to move it one element up, which in this case would have worked. But if you had 7 or 8 shapes that you were working with, and it was like a lower shape, you'd only be bringing it up one at a time. That's why if you have an element that you want to send all the way to the back, you always go send to back. And if you want something that you want to guarantee is going to come to the front, you go bring to front. That's the major difference.
Oh, okay.
All right.
Thank you.
All right. Now, are you ready for the unveiling?
Yes.
I'm ready.
All right. Now I'm going to actually come in here. Now here, before I do this, you don't have to have the same bottle. You don't have to have these little bumps. I'm a showboat. I'm one of these people that I got to show off. So I went and I deliberately looked for a bottle that had these little extra flourishy shapes because I thought it would be an awful lot of fun to see if I could figure out how to get those shapes to work. You could do something simpler if you want, but it's up to you. I mean, the important thing is that you have fun doing this. That's really what this is. In my opinion, this is a tremendous amount of fun, and you should have fun doing it. So that's all my suggestion to you. So you select this guy, go to the Effect menu, go to 3D, and go to Revolve. There's 2 of them. We're going to do Extrude and Bevel next. 3D Revolve. And the 3D Revolve dialog box comes up. It's enormous. Hit preview. Look at that. What do you think?
Nice.
Isn't that amazing?
Yeah,
So
that's cool.
easy.
I wish I had knew about this a long time ago.
Well, you know about it now. And one of the reasons that I am doing this week 1, which is probably a little bit on the weird side, you now have 4 weeks to fool around with this and come up with a really beautiful solution to your packaging. Next week, I'm going to show you how to go about putting the labeling on it. I'm going to do this in multiple steps. This will give you a week to play with this. I'm not exactly finished with this. I want to show you how I went about making the inside, which is the hot sauce. I want to show you how I did that. But at any rate, I just wanted to give you an idea. That's what it looks like so far. Are you cool with this?
Yes.
Okay. Is it,
The
huh?
bottle of oil that you get for your car.
What do you mean? Oh,
You know,
this? Yeah, it does. It kind of does look like that, but in the end, it won't. It'll look like hot sauce. All right, so here's what we're going to do. I'm now about to show you how I made the inner shape for the sauce. I click on this guy. I go edit copy, edit, paste in place. Okay? So now I've made a duplicate and it's sitting in front of the other one. I'm using the left arrow key to just move it over a tiny bit, just like that. Okay? Are you with me?
Yep.
Okay. I'm going to get my scissors tool. I'm going to come over here to this point right there, and I'm going to click, and I'm going to break that line, and I'm going to delete that line. And then I'm going to select this guy, okay? And I'm going to pick a color of, let's make it green this time. I think they have green hot sauce as well, so let's make it green. I'm making it green. Now, there's one problem, is that line is still on the line down at the bottom there. Do you see that? Mm-hmm. Okay, so I have to deal with that. So I'm going to zoom in on this thing, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to get my direct selection tool, okay? Now, the regular selection tool only selects everything. The direct selection tool allows me to select specific anchor points, like that anchor point right there, and that anchor point right there. And I'm going to use my up arrow to just bring it up once, twice, just like that. And if I want, I can take this anchor point here and I can move that anchor point over just a touch like that. I'm not exactly sure I like it, but I'll try it. Maybe I can adjust this slightly and see how that goes. I'm probably creating more problems for my, no, that's not too bad. That's not too bad. Actually, not too bad at all. I think I can probably drop it just a tiny bit. That's good. That's good. Okay, so you see what I did? I offset it a little bit.
Okay.
Yeah, I see.
Go to the view menu, and I'm going to go fit artboard. Oh, you know what? Another thing. See how that's a little bit longer there?
Gotta cut it.
Nope. All you got to do is click on the direct selection tool, click on it, and use your right arrow to move it over until it hits that line right there. You don't even have to cut it. There's one other thing. Watch this. One more thing. Up here at the top. I want this shape to go to that line. So I'm going to get the pen tool, and I'm going to click on that anchor point right there. I'm going to hold the shift key down, and I'm going to go over to that line and click. And now I've got my shape. Okay?
Okay.
And remember the stacking order. Go to the view menu and go fit artboard and window. And actually, let me zoom in. There, that's probably pretty good. Okay, remember the stacking order. The green is in front of the bottle. So what I want to do with this is I want to go edit cut or copy, or no, edit cut and edit paste in back. So what I did was I pasted it in back of that shape right there. All right?
Okay.
Now are you ready for the unveiling? Select all these guys. Go up to the effect menu, 3D, revolve, and hit preview. And it revolves the whole thing. Oh, you know what? I missed the top piece. I missed a piece. Hold on. Cancel. I missed a piece. Let me get that top piece. There we go. Effect, 3D, revolve. And by the way, there's more to this. There's more to this than just what I'm doing here. I mean, you can rotate this when you do yours, play with it. You can rotate this using, there are different ways that you can go. Like here's a front view. See how that makes a nice front view? I kind of like the offset front view though, off axis front. I kind of like that view. That's why I left it that way. But you can go in and you can try different views, okay? Isometric left. Look at that. Of course, now it knocks them out of position. So I would either choose the front view, okay, or the off-axis front, which is the one that I like. And I'm gonna hit OK. All right. Now you're not seeing your content. So what you're gonna do is you're gonna select just this guy right here, the outside one, and you're going to go to the window menu and go to transparency. And have you ever worked with the transparency panel before?
No.
Look at that. Isn't that crazy? That's just using overlay. The transparency panel, what it does is it sets your object to be transparent in one way. Let's see what other ones we have. We have darken. That's kind of good. I like the darken one. These are different blend modes. These blend modes basically take whatever object you have selected and blends the object into whatever's beneath it. So I'm multiplying it in. That's a good one too. That looks pretty good. That looks really nice actually. Okay. And there are different blend modes. Lighten. Okay. You don't see much happening with that one. Screen. I don't like the look of that. The one that I think I like is the multiply. I think that looks pretty nice. What do you guys think? Let's deselect it. And there you have it. Go to the view menu. View. Guides. Hide guides. There you have it.
That hot sauce looks really dangerous.
There you go. All right, now I don't know whether the color's really right. Here's what's cool about this. What you can do is you can select this thing and you can go Object, Lock, Selection, okay? Now I come in here, I can click that guy right there. And if I don't like that color red, I can go back into my swatches. Where the heck are my swatches? Where'd they go? Here they are. And I can choose a red color and look at that. It changes the color instantly. I think that looks more like a hot, no, it doesn't. Where was the red I had? There it was right there. These are not my real colors. Or if you want, you can come in here and you can play around with your color until you get something that really looks like hot sauce. That might look good. Yeah, it looks like hot sauce. What do you think? Does that look like hot sauce to you?
That looks like Tabasco.
Tabasco? Well, that's what hot sauce is. Tabasco, isn't it?
Not if you're a real hot sauce person.
Oh, really?
Tabasco's fake. It's more vinegar.
Okay, so what do you guys think after seeing this? What do you think?
Pretty cool.
You think you could handle that?
Yeah.
Did I give you a demonstration that was easy for you to understand? And let me deselect it so you can get the whole effect. Did I do a demonstration that's easy for you to understand?
Yes.
Absolutely.
Good. All right, because again, that's the whole part of this is, you know, me showing you things in a way that you'll learn from it, you know. And are there things that you learned tonight? I mean, there's new stuff in here?
Yes.
Yep. Just about everything I learned tonight is new to me.
Okay. Well, it's all recorded, so if you forget any part of it, I mean, do you think it was memorable enough that you'd be able to go in and try it on your own?
Yes.
Excellent. Just
So I could make a 3D dog.
here's the problem. The problem with 3D is it's limited. This is not a real true 3D program. This is a faux 3D program. It's limited in what it will do. It will extrude something out and it will revolve something. It doesn't do irregular shapes. It's very difficult. You have to do a whole lot of trickery to make a 3D shape look like more than a 3D shape. But if you're going to revolve things like, if you look at last week's, or not last week's, but Monday night's lesson, you'll see I had like barrels and I had candles and stuff, right? Tamara, you were there. I don't think anybody, Daryl, you weren't there last week, but Tamara, you were there. You saw my other samples, right?
Yeah, they're pretty good.
Yeah. So there are a whole lot of things you can do with it, but you have to keep in mind it's limited. It's not capable of doing every single thing. It just basically can do certain things. And I'll tell you something, this is very important. Here's one other thing I should probably warn you about. When you are working with 3D, if you wanted to go back in and re-edit any of these things, you never, ever select it and then go up to Effect 3D and revolve. Because what that will attempt to do is it will attempt to place another 3D revolve on the one you already have, and it will create mayhem with your piece. Don't ever do this. if you ever want to edit your piece, you want to go to the window menu and you want to open up the appearance panel. And right here, when you click on this object, you see the 3D revolve?
Yes.
And you see what it says when I sit over it? Click the edit effect. See it?
Yep.
That's where you go to edit your effect, okay? That's how you do it, all right?
Okay.
All right. Now, I got 2 more things that I want to very quickly show you, and we'll call it a night. I hope I can pull this off. I'm going to do this very quickly. I'm just going to set some type. Let me just set some type. Okay, I'm going to do this very quickly because I don't want to make a big deal out of this. All right, I was talking to you about strokes, all right? I'm going to set this thing up, and I'm going to make it nice and bold. Let's go in and make it bold. Bold, there we go. All right, so here's what we have, and let me make it a color. Let me make it a color. Come on. There we go. Okay, and let's go to the appearance panel, and I'm going to come in here and I'm going to add a new stroke. Okay, now do you see that stroke is black?
Yes.
Now watch what happens as I make that stroke bigger. Look what it's doing. You see what it's doing? You see how it's strangling the fill?
Yes.
It looks terrible, doesn't it?
Yes.
Yeah, that looks bad.
It looks real bad. But if you take your fill, let's now put a fill on it. Let's put a fill of yellow on it. Okay, so now it's got a yellow fill. Let's take that fill in this appearance panel and let's drag that fill up to the top. Look at what happens. Now watch this. I can start adding heavier lines to my stroke, and look at that. Isn't that cool?
Huh.
That's the proper way to put a stroke on your piece. Now, if you don't want it to be that big, obviously, you back it off. Bring it back to the size that you want. And if you really want this to look good at this point, you're going to open up your character panel, and you're going to come over here, and you're going to track this out. Okay, it might be too much. Let's go back to 75, 90. Yeah, that's probably okay. You get the idea. There, see? And now if you want, you can come back in here and you can start bringing up your stroke again, okay, until you get something that you like. But as long as you have the fill in front of the stroke in the appearance panel, you'll get the proper degree of stroke on it. Why is this happening? It happens because when you put a stroke on an object, the stroke sits dead center on the object, okay, which in this case is a letter type. Watch this. I'll go to the view menu and let's go to outline, okay? See those lines right there? Those are your paths. And those paths, the stroke goes halfway or in the middle. It's half of it's on the outside, half it's on the inside. So whenever you increase the size of that path, it doesn't go on the outside. It goes on the inside and on the outside together. That's why you have that happen. Okay? Make sense?
Yes, it does.
Okay. Die line. We're almost done. This is what we're going to be doing next week. So I want to just show you one more thing. This also relates to our final project. I'm going to make my artboard a little tiny bit bigger. You know how to do that, right? You know the artboard tool? You worked with the artboard tool yet?
Yes.
Okay, you can make your artboard bigger. Okay, the reason I got this guy out is because I need the instructions here. All right, so I'm going to show you how to do this. You're going to love this. This is real easy to do as well. What I'm going to do, though, is I'm going to show you how to make a 3D box. Now, the front side panels are 2 by 7.5. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pick a color. All right, let me pick a color. And again, I'll pick red. I just feel like red tonight. And I'm going to get rid of the stroke. Okay, don't want the stroke. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to get my rectangle tool. And I got to get on a layer, first of all. Where's my layers? There they are. Got to get on my layer. I guess I got to go to my original layer. Will that work? Nope. Let me unlock them. Didn't get it yet. Wow, what is the deal here? What is the deal? What's locked? I wonder if there's something locked inside here. Why is it doing that? Oh, I know why, because the layer is, all right, that's what it was. It was the layers hidden. All right, what I'm going to do is I got the rectangle tool, and I'm going to click to bring up my rectangle dialog box. Instead of dragging, have you ever done this? Use the rectangular dialog box?
Yep.
Okay, so if you take a look, the rectangle that we're building is 2 inches wide by 7.5 inches tall, okay? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to set the width to be 2IN, hit tab, 7.5 IN, hit OK, and there is my, I'm going to move this out of the way, and come on, give me a break. There is my panel, okay? Now, when you go to create your your packaging, this is how you're going to do it. You're going to build yourself a panel, and you're going to put all your elements on that panel. But guess what? When you go in to make your 3D box to put your panels on, you're going to do the same thing. You're going to actually come in here and make yourself one box panel, and then you're going to go up into the 3D effects, and you're going to extrude your box out. Okay? Go back to my hot sauce. And let's go view, fit all in window. And let me bring everything back out for a second. Where are you? Here we go. Come on. There. There's my box. See what I'm doing? That's what I'm doing right there. All right. Got it? So that's selected. I'm going to go to the effect, 3D, and I'm going to go extrude and bevel. Now I have this set to off axis front, okay? You can pick any one that you want. You can go left, I don't know, let's see, I have to be off axis to do it. Off axis right, that's a good one. Off axis right is good too. Here's the thing that you have to understand. The way this works, that's your top, right? The blue panel right there is representative of your front, okay? Since it's a box, it has sides, right? 6 sides. So what you got to keep in mind is that the blue panel is representing where your front is being displayed. You got that?
Okay.
Got it.
All right. Come over here. I'm going to off axis front. There's my front. There's my side. That's what I started off with. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to hit preview. And there it is. It's already extruding for me, but it isn't deep enough. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to step this up. I'm going to try 160. And then what I'm going to do is click here, and you see it comes out, but it's not quite big enough. So I think it's probably going to be closer to 190. Let's try 190, and then I'll click on that. And that's pretty close. It might even be 210. Let's try 210. Try 210. Oop, that's 110. 210. What do you think? Does that look square to you? Or is that too deep? What do you guys think?
A rectangle.
Huh?
It doesn't look like a square.
Okay, so it's got to probably be 200. Let's try 200.
Yeah, it looks too deep.
Let's try 200. What's that, better? That's a square.
Yeah, that's better.
Close enough, right?
Yeah, that's better.
Okay, now what you can do, this is what's really amazing. I got enough time that I can show you this a little bit. You can actually take this thing, and you can do this with the bottle as well. You can take this thing and you can rotate it in any angle that you want. Look, I mean, this will go in any angle, any way you want it to go. It'll go any way you want it to go. And actually, now that I get it in this angle, I can really see it's off. So I can actually come in here and I can try to fix this thing. Let's see if we can fix it. That's a little too. Let's try 146. That's a square. That's close enough, wouldn't you say?
That's good.
Okay. And now what I'm going to do is, now that I got that, I'm going to come back to my rotation. I'm going to go to off axis front again. And this time I'm going to add perspective to it. Okay. I'm going to give it perspective. I probably gave it too much perspective. That's probably pretty good. Hit okay. And now look, watch what happens. There it is. That is your 3D box. What do you think? You could do that?
That's an easy box.
Yes, and I really recommend that you try all of this stuff. I think it's something that's really worth your time to explore. Just do it the way I showed you how to do it in here. Do it the simplest way you possibly can. Use your brain. Think about what you're doing. Think about the shapes that you're creating, and recognize that all you need to do to make this work is come up with a basic shape. For an extrude like this, it has to be a closed shape. For a revolve, it can be an open shape. But what you can do is start with a closed shape and then cut it open using the scissors tool. And then you basically just revolve the thing and make sure that you have multiple pieces, a piece for the cap, a piece for your actual bottle. And if you want to put the contents in it, you make a content piece exactly the way I did it, and you should be good to go. Now, let's see, what else do I have before I'm done here? Because we still got 9 minutes. Yeah, what I'm going to do is I'm going to demonstrate more things on Monday. I don't want to do any more tonight, because to be honest with you, I want to end at a point where you guys are still comfortable. And I think you guys are probably still comfortable with what I showed you, right? Does anybody feel overwhelmed by what I showed you?
Nope.
No. So I don't want to overwhelm anybody, and I think we covered a great deal of important stuff with this. I really am very satisfied with the way it went, and I hope you guys are as well. You got a good recording here. I'll record it, and I'll get it up online for you. You can look at it, and you can, get used to doing it. And if you have any problems, you know where to find me. I'll be in Blackboard. You can email me as well. So that's it. Unless you have anything you want to ask me about, I'm pretty much done.
No, thank you very much.
Okay.
I'm good, thank you.
All right.
Yeah, I'm good too. Thank you.
Okay. Well, then I will let you go to your work and do your thing, and I will see you guys Monday night. I hope you guys keep coming, because it's a lot more enjoyable having you guys here than to be just sitting here doing this by myself. So please do come. Oh, I did want to mention, I put a new note in. I'm doing this. This is something new for me as well. Usually I wait until later in the course to talk to you about this, but my last week here, the last week in our course, I like to do critiques. And it's very important that you guys strongly consider doing a critique with me in the 4th week, because I can give you even more additional information about the projects in a critique, and we do it week 4. So if you want to do a critique, you don't have to do anything about it right now, but if you want to do a critique in week 4, all you have to do really is I will remind you in week 3, send me an email saying, yes, I would like a critique, and I'd like a critique of week 1 assignment, or week 2 assignment, or week 3 assignment, or my final assignment. You actually can't do the final, because the final is, we're not going to be, I won't have it till the end of the week. But week 1 or week 2 or week 3, and I'll give you a critique on week 4. You got that?
Yes.
Okay. I also made an announcement on that. All right?
Okay.
All right, I'm good. If you guys have anything else, now's your time. If not, I really enjoyed having you here, and I hope you enjoyed doing with me what I did.
It was fun.
Good.
Thank you.
Great. You all have a good night.
You too.
Yep.
Have a good night, everyone.
Bye-bye.